Concrete Genie's best idea, the one you'll return to over and again across its 6-hour runtime, is, for the most part, sort of optional. If you've seen anything from Pixelopus' second game, you'll have seen that idea in action. Lead character Ash pausing his semi-open world platforming to daub living drawings across the sides of rundown buildings. Trees sprout and grow. 2D waterfalls pour from rooftops onto bobbing painted ponds, and stars sprinkle themselves across brick-backed skies like dropped glitter. The thing is, if you wanted to, you could cynically cover almost every wall in paintings of a few boring blades of grass and still be able to continue. But you won't. More likely, you'll spend far longer than is technically required in each area, creating shimmering landscapes across the length of this shuttered city, and for no reason other than your own satisfaction. This is Concrete Genie's crowning achievement. In a story sense, you're doing this because Ash, a budding, bullied artist, has somehow brought one of his cutesy monster drawings to life, received a magical paintbrush the size of a tennis racket, and now must drive back the darkness creeping across his abandoned hometown, Denska. It's a charming, if slightly hackneyed magical realist tale. Ash's travels have him cross paths with his bullies, a group seemingly proportioned by Tim Burton, each with their own personal problems, who shred Ash's sketchbook and throw the pages to the wind. Collectible newspapers tell the story of Denska itself, a seaside town lost to urban decay, a big, semi-explorable metaphor for broken window theory. But the real reason I kept scrawling across Denska's blackened walls was down to something far more positive. It's so extremely satisfying to do so. Ash's magic-imbued paintings are made up of a collection of pre-existing sketches, earned by collecting those bully-scattered pages. Almost any blank wall can become your canvas, and painting is as simple as picking the sketch you want, then holding R2 while tilting the controller, marking one of the only uses of 6-axis motion control I've ever actually enjoyed. The whole process is immediately intuitive, and, thanks to smart decisions about how those sketches layer onto and behind one another, it's also remarkably easy to make something that looks genuinely good, no matter your real-life artistic ability. But, as I've mentioned, Concrete Genie is built so that you don't have to do a good job. Your progress across Denska is measured by whether or not you've filled a few set walls you have to paint. For the most part, you'll be required to slap your shifting artwork onto areas marked with hanging lights. Paint enough, and those lights begin shining. Make all the lights on a section of wall shine, and it's marked as completed. Complete all the walls in an area, and the next area will open. Mechanically, it's simple and transparent. Paintings are never judged on their content, they just need to fill enough space. And I'm torn on how to feel about this. On the one hand, it lets those invested in the story skip through at their own pace without telling them they have to do something creative first. But on the other hand, I'd welcome the opportunity to turn painting into a true mechanic of its own.
You're right, Luna. Denska should be beautiful again. I'll do it.
As it is, the only true wrinkles are some colour-coded gates, which is where the genies come in. Genies are another act of creation. Some of Ash's sketches are of furry monster bodies, or the tails, horns, and ears that attach to them. Put these together in specific locations, and your creation springs to life as a genie, with one of 3 given powers. The puzzles are never more complicated than something like, oh, I need another new genie to get through here. But again, I found myself invested in making interesting designs, simply because they were such a pleasure to watch when animated. All of this creativity is coupled with some extremely light stealth, as Ash's gang of bullies roam around town in search of him. Again, the challenge is meagre to non-existent. If they're in your way, just scamper to a rooftop and use the D-pad to shout and draw them to a different area. Punishment for being caught is also minimal, they just throw you in a dumpster and leave. This pleasing seesaw between painting and stealth, tactical expressionist action, if you will, makes up the bulk of Concrete Genie. But at a certain point, it sees fit to become an action game on top of all of that. Pixelopus has been open about this shift since it began previewing Concrete Genie, but I won't spoil the story reasons for why it happens. Suffice it to say that after the shift, Ash's brush has become a tool of destruction as much as creation. And it's a bold move. Not many games see fit to become, well, a completely different kind of game a number of hours into their campaign. Sadly, it's a move I admire more than actively enjoy. Concrete Genie's action ideas look good, but every fight feels like a slog. Amidst an experience built on artistic freedom, it feels distinctly limited by comparison. Thankfully, this section is a relatively small piece of Concrete Genie as a whole, and its post-game returns to that gentler pace. And it's a post-game I'm looking forward to continuing with. Yes, there are gaps in my sketchbook, but I'm more interested in the gaps on Denska's walls. The freedom to paint almost anywhere makes me want to fully cover the town in my own designs, then jump into the well-appointed photo mode to admire the sheer extent of my handiwork. Perhaps more than anything else, that urge is testament to just how satisfying this painting system is. Success in Concrete Genie comes easily, probably too easily for some, but that ease lets its best moments breathe. It's less about challenging you to get through traditional video game obstacles than it is about letting you challenge yourself to keep coming up with new and creative ideas, new designs, and new places to put them around this dilapidated city. At heart, it's an exercise in the pleasure of the artistic process. Just like Concrete Genie's core idea, you never really have to paint, but I absolutely wanted to. If you want to see more of Concrete Genie, why not check out the first few minutes of the game in action?